Gospel Power Show. That's 2 hours of great gospel music every Saturday from 3 to 5 p.m., all brought to you by the Ozona Pig Restaurant in Ozona. Yes, that's every Saturday from 3 to 5 p.m. It's Miss Sarah's Dynamic Gospel Power Show. Tune in on the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Calling all radio enthusiasts with storm claims and legal questions. Join us every Saturday at 2 p.m. on WTAN FM 106.1 and AM 1340 for Legal Candy with attorney Candace Colucci. She's your guide to hurricane-related issues, property insurance law, and more sizzling legal topics. Get ready for a lively legal experience. Make your Saturday sweet with Legal Candy on WTAN FM 106.1 and AM 1340.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
It's now time for Connecting Caregivers with author, speaker, caregiver advocate, and talk show host Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for caregivers.
Caregivers around the world today, it's time to lift you up. It's time to celebrate. Good afternoon and welcome to Connecting Caregivers with me, Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for the caregivers with love, laughter, and lessons learned on the show where you can find help and hope and probably a couple of laughs too, right, Lynn?
Absolutely.
So with me is my best friend, my co-host, and my sidekick, not psychic, Lynn Thornley.
Good afternoon.
How are you today?
Good. It's funny how you can hear better when they're on the right way.
Yeah, she just had her headphones on inside out. Inside out.
And I couldn't figure it out, Ed.
Well, I got to tell you, it wasn't the first time I've seen that. So when the earphones are flipped,
Yes.
it's going out. And guess what? When I turn the mic on, it squeals.
Oh, my God.
That's feedback.
Well, I remember one time I was doing a show, one of the things broke. I had like the metal thing sticking in the side of my head trying to do the show and be behaved.
But I couldn't figure out why. Every time I turned his mic on, it was squealing. I looked at him. I'm like, oh, come on.
Well, I knew I couldn't hear anything. From now on, we're using ours. I know how they work.
Oh, my God.
I'm waiting for that one guest that goes, they don't work. What's wrong with them? I can't hear a thing.
Well, it's good to see you today, Ed.
You too.
So we have a special guest on the show today, Doug Fishman. We're going to talk to in a couple minutes. Welcome, Doug.
Thank you for having me.
Glad you're here. But the first thing I want to do is give out a shout out to our newest listeners. We have Jenny in Clearwater. We have Janet in Tampa, and we have Maureen in St. Pete.
Welcome, ladies.
And like I say, there's always plenty of room around the Connecting Caregivers table for more listeners, whether you listen while we're live on the radio, on Facebook, or on YouTube, or my website, or wherever it is. We just want to help you out in any way we can. I want to repeat, as I always say to you, if you need a resource, if you need help with something, contact me. If I don't know the answer, I will find someone that has the answer. I am so glad to be a part of this Tampa Bay community where professionals really want to make a difference. I was at a networking breakfast the other morning at Arden Courts, and you just see everybody working together. The elder care attorney, the home health care company, the rehab. There was a guy there that goes around to people in their houses that have wounds. He's a wound specialist. I'm like, I need you in my bucket. But just see how, because, when I go to other states and speak or something, it's not the same deal. It's always like, don't talk to that guy, he might take your business. But here in Florida's waiting room, there's plenty of business for all of us in the senior community. That's for definitely sure. So Doug, you're with Operation Helping Hand. And first, let's tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and then what Operation Helping Hand is.
Well, Operation Helping Hand is an organization. We help patients that are in the James A. Haley polytrauma and spinal cord injury wings, specifically those patients that have suffered some of the most severe injuries that can happen during wartime. And in additionally, we also support their families. So we support directly families. We support programs within the hospital itself. And we've been doing that since 2004.
Now, they live in the hospital?
There are patients that actually live in the hospital. There are certain patients that are probably never going to leave, and they receive 24-hour care. They've got a number of floors there. A lot of people don't know this, but the Haley institution actually accounts for over 80% of the beds in both the Department of Defense and the VA for spinal cord injury and polytrauma. So we like to think of us as a local organization that has a global reach.
Yeah. And like, it's good that you help the family too, because it's not just the vet that got hurt. Well,
the organization was founded really because of an interaction with a family member.
All right, tell me the story.
Pardon?
Tell me the story. There's always a story.
Back in 2004, Bob Sila, who was the founder of Operation Helping Hand, was visiting he was retired captain from the Navy, and he was visiting some patients. And he would come and go, and he would see a woman sitting in the parking lot, and her car was filled with Big Mac wrappers. And he would see her day, night as he's coming and going. And finally, he just, couldn't hold himself. He knocks on the window and says, what are you doing? Why are you here? It's I see you every day. And she goes, well, my husband's receiving treatment here at the hospital. I don't have any place to go. And from that was born Operation Helping Hand.
I got tears.
Yeah.
Well, it was an area that hadn't been addressed. And so the military, it was a military organization of America, or military officers of America, that started the organization, and then it became independent from them and became its own entity as a charity.
So how did you get involved?
I became involved because I did a number of different events, and then I supported the organization. And then late last year, 23 actually, is some of the leadership was getting older.
Graduating.
Yes, they were. That's a good term. I like that.
Yes.
They were graduating. And then Jim Griffin, who was the previous chairman, he needed to go live with his family in South Carolina. He was not able to continue with his duties, and he was going to close the organization down.
Wow.
And having interacted with him, having interacted with the different patients and helping support things, is I felt that there was still too much that we could do, too much to give. And that, so good, bad, I ended up volunteering, and here I am.
So all right, so now there's no lady sitting in the car eating Big Macs. Where are those ladies now? How do you help them? Give me some scenarios?
Well, we work directly with the VA, particularly some of the social workers there.
Okay.
And a lot of what we do has to be anonymous because of confidentiality law. So we rely on those social workers to be able to come to us and say, this is what may be needed. And whether it's helping with short-term payments for mortgage or transportation or bringing family in. I mean, a lot of times patients will get shipped here, and it's just the patient. Their family may be in Wisconsin or California. So it's been shown that having family around, being able to have that support, is a huge factor in recovery. So we help with that financially. We also help with welcome packages when patients are here new in the area. As I said, 80% of the beds are from global out places, is that we give them a welcome bag. And it has significant help for the family. And it's as simple as sheets for the bed, blankets, things that make you feel more welcome, gift cards, a list of places where people can go for assistance, help with housing. So it's really instrumental in helping them feel acclimated when they first get here.
So do you have an office or a center, or you're around the hospital?
No, we do. We are not officially part of the VA. We are an outside organization.
Okay.
We do as much support as we possibly can, but we are at their discretion. So a lot has changed. Prior to COVID, there was more in person. We used to go. One of our sponsors, Bluebell Ice Cream, has been with us for years, and we used to take. But we used to go and distribute Bluebell Ice Cream to the different wards. They still sponsored. As a matter of fact, just over the holidays, we had a dinner for 300 people, and we fed all the patients, and including those patients that were inpatient that we spoke about before. So that is something that we like to do, really just to try and normalize and bring some cheer to something that's difficult.
So do you have to have events?
I'm sorry?
You have to have events to raise money?
Yes, we do events to raise money. We've also got a number of different sponsors that have been working for us for a number of years. Our golf tournament's coming up. That's going to be March 28th at Bay Palms on MacDill Air Force Base.
Nice.
I would invite anybody to go to our website, which is ohhtampa.org.
Say it again.
ohhtampa.org.
Okay.
And please, we if you can't help monetarily, we can use volunteers. This is our big fundraiser for the year. And listen, it takes
a
money.
village.
Yeah, it takes a village, but it also takes money.
Too.
And so, we don't ask people to give money. We ask people to give time if they've got that opportunity.
Yeah, that's really good. So how long is someone, well, first of all, I want to know how many vets you've helped. And then I want to know how long is someone like in the program or do they kind of graduate?
Well, it's not a matter of in the program. As I said,
it's just help at the time.
Correct. It's help as needed. We do annual events. I mean, in the fall, we did an event with the Rays. They were very, very kind. They gave us a party suite.
They are very kind.
And we brought in a number of different families, patients, and the thing about it is that a lot of times, a lot of people think polytrauma, SCI, is that it's a physical injury.
Explain to people what polytrauma and SCI is first before we go further, because not everybody knows.
Polytrauma is an injury that includes brain injuries, amputation. It's some of the most severe injuries that you can have physically. And then SCI is spinal cord injury.
Okay.
So, there's mobility issues. And, a lot of times people, you don't even know that they're injured because they've got, traumatic brain injury. And they've got, it's just a trauma.
They look just fine.
They look terrific,
right?
But they're not the same person. And I recall, during that, when we had the Rays game there was a special forces person, and he was there with his family. And the wife was just overwhelmed that they were having a good time as a family, that he was able to just step back and not think about anything else.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
So.
And I think a lot of those families don't even have time to try to plan something or try to do something. They're just so busy in the day-to-day caregiving and what's going on, because not only the wounded veteran, but their family are wounded also. Their family needs help. Their relationships maybe have changed. I mean, a lot of stuff going on.
There's a tremendous amount, and I don't think people realize that how much support is needed for the family, to be able to offer assistance and be able to bring people in. I mean, we're constantly getting requests for airfare, so a family member could visit. If there's hotels that are needed or meals, or if a family member is coming in for a weekend and they can't afford it,
right,
we'll pay for it. I mean, it's what we do, and that's so important to the healing process. And it's so important to make sure that these patients get back to their families.
Yeah, just get back to life. I mean, I can't imagine, losing a leg or an arm or whatever. And a lot of them are young men. They have a whole long life ahead of them.
Well, and when we went after the towers came down and we went to war in Afghanistan and the Middle East, war had changed from Vietnam, which was the last major conflict that we had fought. The weapons were much stronger, and the injuries that were being seen were much more devastating. Yeah. And so people would come back with extreme injuries. And so that also, you need different care for that. And we've helped out with developing that care. Before the conflict that happened in Afghanistan and the Middle East, there really wasn't therapies for virtual reality or for gaming or for music or for the arts. And we've worked with the James A. Haley over the years and developed those programs so they can be tailored to specifically help patients get better. And it's been shown that those type of activities are just as important as the medical care that they receive.
Yeah.
I mean, probably one of the best examples that I see is in our virtual reality and gaming program, is when somebody suffers an amputation, is a lot of time a patient will have phantom pain. That means the brain still registers that there is a limb there and that it registers pain, even though there are no nerves that are existing anymore. But it has been shown that using virtual reality, using gaming, is that the body itself kind of rewires and that the pain diminishes the more people use that activity.
Interesting.
And that has been, studied for many, many years. That program is now being researched nationwide, and it's been exported for other hospitals as well. So,
well, it's probably a little mental part of it too, because you're the guy in the game, and now you have a leg again.
mm-hmm.
Kind of thing. So to have that, that kind of thing, that's probably got to be part of it too.
It's like your mother when she thought she was cured. Was cured. So if they're into something else, they're not going to be thinking about themselves.
What about the kids? The children of the families? Because this is a whole big deal for them too.
It's a tremendous big deal. I mean, specifically, they admire and their parents, they love their parents, and they want to see their parents whole. And, we support that entire family. It's not just, a portion of it. Because of confidentiality, a lot of times we don't know who the patients are. We don't get to meet the families. We're working on some different things and getting back into the hospital. It hasn't happened since COVID because there's, the isolation. But those things are changing, and we're starting to have more interaction. I mean, with the Rays game,
kills.
As I said, at the Rays game, we had a number of children, and they just had the best time. I mean, seeing them sit on their parents' laps, seeing them interacting, doing something that
them seeing their dad smile.
Yeah.
Them seeing their dad smile, because it's got to be hard.
Well, it's also hard because a lot of the patients, that particular instance, it was trauma to the brain, but there's physical trauma as well, where people are in wheelchairs, and all of a sudden, their a father or mother might have left to go to war, and they come back and they can no longer walk,
right,
or they can't physically interact. And, children don't want that for their parents. And so being able to give them an opportunity to be able to do something is important to us. It's important to the patients.
Now, do you ever help with or get involved in anything with like home modification?
We haven't, to my knowledge. That doesn't say that we wouldn't support that. Again, those requests are made through the VA.
Right. The VA is pretty good with home modification.
Right. And so a lot of what we do are things outside of the scope of what the VA would normally provide. And that's the reason we work with the social workers. We work with the physicians, in the programs that we developed as far as dance therapy, art therapy, the VR. All of that was programs that were not part of the
virtual reality is the VR. Okay,
so I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I apologize for using the acronyms.
It's okay. But art therapy. So talk to me a little bit about that. What do? They do it in the hospital? They come somewhere? Or?
Yes. Okay. We've supported and raised money to create an art studio within the hospital. There's also woodworking. There's a music therapy, dance therapy.
Nice.
Every one of these different therapies has a different area within the hospital, so a different suite where they can provide those services, and they're all given by professionals that are part of the VA staff, and we support that. We supported the development of it. To give you an example, we were there, I would say about 6 months ago, and there were some gentlemen, it was a group of special forces people that had been ambushed, and that they were there doing woodworking, but you could see that what it was doing was building teammanship again.
Mm-hmm.
It was allowing them to develop relationships, and the goal isn't always necessarily to get someone home, because it's not just veterans that we're treating and we're helping and the VA's helping. It's active duty, and sometimes you need to just take a rotation out, take a break, and be able to reset, and we support that as well.
That's very interesting. And we know music therapy. I mean, come on. You can't beat that with anybody.
Well, in the past, we've done art shows, which is really nice. We've used artists from the VA, from these programs. We displayed the art. We are actually looking for a venue. So if anybody out there has a venue that they would like to be able to volunteer, we would love to partner with you to be able to bring that back. I mean, that was just an amazing thing to be able to see all the artwork that these veterans and the patients had completed, and be able to display it in public, because it's very special and it's very meaningful.
Some of the libraries might be interested in doing that. I know they do some things in Seminole and some of the other in the Largo library. So just keep open to that. Who knows? But Certainly. If anybody else has a venue out there, please share. It would be wonderful, and I would love to go to something like that and see the different artwork. Now that could be a fundraiser.
Mm-hmm. In the past, it has been, because we get some corporate sponsorship. And again, our goal is that 96.5% of all dollars raised goes directly to the care of the patients.
That's a big deal.
That's a goal. Sometimes it doesn't happen because there's operational costs that you can't avoid.
Right.
But at the end of the day, that's our goal, and we stick to it, and we're very, very strategic in how we approach it. So if someone wants to partner with us, volunteer time financially, is that that what you're giving is going to go to the patients themselves.
Yeah, and it's right in our area, which is really nice to see. I always think we should take care of our own community.
Well, with McDill being here as well, I mean, we've got we're a military community. And, we've got to give back in understanding that these patients are giving the ultimate sacrifice in some instances. Yeah. And that, it's part of our civic duty as Americans to be able to help.
Yes, we're part of the team too.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to step up to that, because so many people don't pay attention to that. They the Army, the Navy, they just take care of the stuff. That's their job. That's what they do. They get paid to do that. No, sorry.
I like the way you say team. That's a good way to approach it, is that we do our part to be able to help them be successful.
Yeah. Well, if we want to be successful on this show, we have to hear from our sponsors. Because if you don't hear from the sponsors, you don't hear from me. So don't go away. We'll be right back on Connecting Caregivers Radio.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Arden Courts is not just a place to live. It's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help, because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides.
Are you getting older, or are you taking care of somebody who is? Getting older creates new problems you probably never imagined. One of the big ones is, how do you pay for care? Care in your home, care in an assisted living facility, or care in a nursing home. Did you know that nursing home care in our community can cost up to $12,000 per month? For the last 33 years, our office has helped families access benefits, including Medicaid, VA, and PACE, to help pay for the cost of long-term care. Regardless of what your assets are or what your income is, you can qualify for these benefits. Proper planning and guidance are absolutely necessary to avoid being wiped out. Let us help. If you are in care or heading in that direction, we can help solve that problem. Take action now to obtain benefits to pay for the cost of care. Here are the 4 things that you need to do. 1, get a new power of attorney. Your old one probably isn't good enough. Get a healthcare surrogate and a living will. 3, get an estate plan that will not disqualify you from benefits. And 4, get a plan to qualify for Medicaid, PACE, or VA benefits to pay for the long-term care costs. Call us today for a free consultation, 727-539-0181, or go to flmedicaid.com and download our free book on Medicaid and planning for long-term care. I'm Sean Scott. I'm here to help.
My mom was getting older, but she was able to live pretty independently until recently. When her case manager told me she would be discharged from rehab in just a few days, I didn't know what to do, but I knew for sure that she couldn't go back living alone at home. So that's when I contacted Sunway's Senior Living Concierge. My Senior Living Concierge, Lisa, was there for me through the whole process and was a free service for us to compare in-home care options and how that cost would compare to assisted living. With Lisa's help, we found a great new home for Mom, and she is thriving. Take it from me, don't go through this journey alone.
Hi, I'm Ellie Baldwin, co-founder and president of Sunway's Senior Living Concierge. We're a free placement and concierge service for families to help compare senior living communities and find the best place for you or a loved one. Call us today at 727-314 888-888-6451 or find us online at sunwayseniorliving.com.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
And we're back. I love sunwayseniorliving.com. They helped one of my clients move their loved one into a community this week. And like I say, I'm so glad for the professionals. Somebody from my Kiwanis group called me and said that they needed home health. And somebody was out there within 3 hours, and the home health started the next day. So it's good to know people sometimes. So if you need any help, let me know. But while we were on the break here for a minute, listening to the commercials, tell me about the wheelchair games. What is that?
Well, we were asked to support some athletes that recently went to New Orleans. It was last spring. And essentially, there was equipment that was needed, particularly a recombinant bike. It allows people that have some injuries to be able to participate. But a recombinant bike is actually for people that have mobility issues within their legs. And it's you sit on the bike and then you're able to participate. But that is not a piece of equipment that necessarily the VA supplies. So that is one area where we'll allow for support. And in this particular instance, the recombinant bike was going to be several $1,000s. And this particular patient wanted to participate. She ended up going there, winning several medals, doing several different events. I mean, she is just she is a beacon of what we try and do. And there's also going to be some Paralympic games that are happening in Orlando. That's in this year in 2025. I'm not sure about the dates, but we're going to be helping support that and do what we can to be able to make sure that people have the proper equipment and what they need to be able to participate.
And it makes all those Olympic things. With Kiwanis, we deal with the Special Olympics. We go in a couple of times a year with different things that they have and just make them the hot dogs and stuff. But when you see people, they're so appreciative that you even come and help and that they had this opportunity to go out there and do something that was out of the box for themselves. I mean, I'm sure it changes everything.
Well, I mean, one of our partners is the Brain and Runners Association, and they have a number of events in the city of Tampa. They did a run actually at Al Lopez Park last year, and they invited people from the VA to come participate. They have specific events that are geared towards the patients that we support. So we very much partner with them. We enjoy the work we do with them. A lot of their leadership within the organization is part of the U.S. Naval Academy Alumni Association here.
Wow.
And so we partnered with them as well when Navy was playing USF. We were able to offer a tailgate, have people come in. We did an event at the aquarium. The Naval Commandant came in. Several retired admirals spoke. But those are the type of partnerships that we love to participate in because we're able to ask patients and people that we're providing care for to be able to participate, and we can generate a financial benefit so we can help more patients.
Yeah, I just love that. I just think that's so important. So listen, volunteer. It's a good thing. If you can send some cash, it's fabulous. If you can't, we need legs on the ground. We need people. And you're not going to, so many of my caregivers say to me after their loved one passes, I don't know what to do with my life. I was a caregiver for 24/7. Volunteer. I promise it'll change your life.
As I said, we've got the golf tournament coming up at MacDill Air Force Base. That's on March 28th. That event by itself probably is our biggest volunteer, where we need the most volunteers.
Yeah, sure.
You've got 132 golfers. You've got putting contest. You've got a ball drop.
You need water.
Water, beverages, meals, check-in. There's so many things that we can use that support with. So, again, go to our website, which is ohhtampa.org, and please take a look at it. There's a bunch of pictures from all our different events, and you can see the smile on our, the patient's face.
Well, I can just see it on your face just talking about it.
Well, it's kind of hard to see over the radio, but
well, they can see on YouTube and on Facebook, though.
Okay.
So let's talk about some of your fabulous sponsors.
Well, I mentioned a few. We've got Mike's Pies, Hank's Barbecue. We work with the Kiwanis in Carrollwood. You're part of the Kiwanis here, I guess. CAE, which is a local defense contractor. Bay Palms, the Florida Groundwater Association, which is that's an interesting thing. They've been sponsors of ours for years.
Okay.
And what they do is they just make sure that our groundwater is safe, but they also understand the importance of what we do as an organization. And, they every year they come to our dinner at the VA and be able to support us. And so I'd like to give a shout out to them.
These are the businesses you want to support because they're supporting our veterans.
Yes.
Who else you got?
AWS Title. MEF Media is a big partner with us. We actually had a crew come out, Girls with Pearls, and that was just so much fun. They volunteered to come out and they were servers for our dinner. And imagine all the girls coming out dressed up. They had all sorts of, the beads on and everything. People loved it and they were so delightful. I can't say enough about how they supported that and what they did just to raise the entire level of emotion in that room, because people are looking and they're like, who are these girls dressed up like pirates and in ball gowns and everything else? And it was terrific. And then, the U.S. Naval Academy Alumni Association and the U.S. Naval Academy has helped. Hank's Barbecue, Firehouse Barbecue, Brunchies. We try and partner as locally as we can.
Yeah.
And it's very important for us. We've realized that although our end mission is to support our patients, we have to help our sponsors as well.
Yeah.
And we view it as a true partnership, is that we want to make sure that when you're helping us, that we're helping you. And we want to get the word out there. We want to be able to promote that you're doing something good. Unless you tell us that you want to be anonymous, we're going to make sure that everybody knows, and we're going to shout from the high mountains and the trees. We're going to say, these guys help us out.
Yeah.
These guys are partners, and these guys are helping these patients and families, and they're doing good.
Yeah, it's so important because I like to support my local businesses. If I find out they're doing something like this, it makes you even want to support them even more.
Yeah, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's helping people that help.
Yeah.
And so I again give a shout out if you see a Mike's Pie or Bluebell Ice Cream or Hank's or Brunchies or any of those things.
I like
Bluebell.
Bluebell.
We're gonna buy more Bluebell on the way home today. I know it.
Pistachio.
Alessi Vigo is another one that has given us gift boxes and support there. So, we love partnering with local organizations.
Yeah, it's good for the whole community. I had the opportunity a couple of years ago to go on the honor flight to Washington, D.C. with the vets. And when you see the whole community pulled together for them, it's so fabulous. And when we landed in Clearwater, St. Pete, so all the different branches of the service was there, but the young girls dressing up as those girls from the 50s, where I forget what they used to call them.
Oh,
Clappers?
They were just like the army girls, whatever. They were just.
It was like that famous photo with the when the guy's kissing the girl and he's leaning over.
Yeah.
I forget what that dress was called, but that's an awesome photo.
But I'm telling you, the woman that I was with, that I accompanied on the trip, when we got off it was such a full day to begin with, and then when you're coming back on the plane, they have mail call. And they give you an envelope with letters that anonymous people have written, kids, people, or whatever. And my person was, if one more person does something nice for me today, I don't think I'm going to make it anymore. And what they did when we landed beside the big party at the airport, with technology today, each one was given a hardbound book with all the photos of the day. Everywhere they went. The monuments. Like, how brilliant is that?
Wow, that's really nice.
Yeah, so it was really cool. I'm going to find out the name of the company that did that, because maybe they could do something at one of your events.
That would be a lot of fun. I think that people would very much appreciate that.
Yeah, so I'll have to look into a little bit more like that, because everybody can help in a different way. Just like put your thinking cap on and think of how you can help. And a lot of it is just distraction. We want to do stuff that distracts from the hard stuff that they're dealing with and give them something happy to look forward to. Give them something else to do.
And we're always looking for ideas as well. At the end of the day, is that, our support extends to the different programs we've talked about today, but things that, we've partnered before with Tampa Bay Shooting Clays and done clay shoots and brought out people, and patients to do that. We'd love to partner with any organization that has that opportunity, that would think that there's something that we could offer to patients to be. We'll get the people there. We'll make sure that they're there.
That's the hardest thing.
And that's, But being able to offer those things is huge. It's so overwhelming when you see how they enjoy themselves.
Now, do any of them ever return to help?
No, a lot
They're
of
not
patients,
able to.
some of them do. I mean, we've had some, and actually, when we do shows like this, and thank you again for having me, is we'll have patients that we've helped on shows. They will go out and do promotions, and then we're going to have a lot of people that we've helped at the golf tournament and so I shouldn't say they don't come back, but they come back in a different way.
Yeah, because I think people need to hear those stories.
Mm-hmm.
About this is what happened to me and this is how it impacted me. It makes a whole big difference than you just hearing a story.
And unfortunately, too, is a lot of the patients, I would say more than 75% are anonymous just simply because of the confidentiality rules. Is that we work a lot with caregivers at the VA, social workers, and essentially they'll submit a request and say, patient X needs a flight for the wife to come down or the children to come down, or they need assistance with a mortgage. We're not privy to who those patients are,
right,
and we don't ask for that information. It's not who we are. We rely on their due diligence to be able to do our mission.
Trust them; they're part of your team.
Correct.
Too.
Oh, we're all one big team. I mean, that's the important thing to understand. I mean, if you go into the VA, if you're ever there, is particularly in the Polytrauma and the SCI building, there's an entire wall of Operation Helping Hand, and just photos and articles and everything that we've done. And I always like looking at it because it reminds me that there's always more to do, though. Too is that it's nice to get recognized, but we don't do it for the recognition.
Right.
We do it because we care.
Yeah.
And we want the ability to be able to expand on what we do and continue to do what we do.
And, sometimes just looking back, you go, I forgot we did that 5 years ago and it worked. Maybe we need to try that again.
Yes.
Or, that kind of thing.
Well, I mean, even, for myself, we just went through Gasparilla, and I was looking at our website of some of the past events. We've got photos from it, and we had participated in Gasparilla.
Really?
Now, it hadn't happened since I've been part of the organization because it's been post-COVID, so a lot of change has been made.
Yeah.
But the thought just occurred to me. I'm like, why aren't we there? Yeah. That's a perfect place where we can be promoting the organization, partnering with some of the military. I mean, MacDill has different things these different military organizations do. Yeah. What can we do to be able to help?
Yeah, because the more exposure you get, the more sponsors you'll get, the more you'll be able to help.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. It's so exciting. It's so, I love when I meet people and that make it so. How many vets have you helped altogether, do you think?
We don't have an exact number over the existence of the charity. Several thousand.
That's fabulous.
We probably raised and contributed several millions of dollars to help support them. I think I don't know the specific amounts, again, having just recently taken over as the chairman, but I do know that the figures that are officially given are over 2,000 vets and $2 million. I personally think that's significantly low because that figure hasn't changed in a number of years.
That sounds.
So we're going to have to go back, get our calculators, and figure that out.
Yeah. Please support your vets in any way they can, whether it's through this program, whether it's through On a Flight. Our vets should not be left behind. We should not. It disgraces me that we have vets that are homeless. We shouldn't have any of that because we would not have our freedom in this country if we did not have them. No ifs, ands, or buts. And when you go back, some of these young men leave their homes at 19 years old or even younger sometimes. And this becomes their life. And sometimes they'll have a terrible accident or something will happen. And this changes their entire life that they gave up for us. So please think about that. And then just like, I love when you go into a restaurant and people see somebody with a military thing, they're like, thank you for your service, or let me pay your breakfast, or let me pay your lunch. That's how it should be. That's how it should be, because we wouldn't live in this country and be as free as we are if we didn't have our military.
Well said. I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's something that I just feel very strongly about, and that's part of the reason why I volunteered for it. It's part of the reason why our board is 100% volunteer.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody there is doing it because we care.
Yeah.
there's not because
and that becomes very evident when you have that kind of group of people.
Yeah.
Very evident. But right now it's time to hear from our wonderful partners again. So don't go away. We will be right back on Connecting Caregivers Radio.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Choosing the right chiropractor is an important choice to make. Located in Seminole, the Alexander Spine Center team is trained on the latest chiropractic treatments and technologies. At Alexander Spine Center, you'll find chiropractic and physical therapy care that is safe, effective, and a natural approach to pain and other health-related issues. Chiropractic unlocks your body's potential and natural healing process to ensure your life is a healthy life. We treat clients from the womb to the tomb. Call 727-397-3000 for a free consultation today, or visit our website at www.alexanderspinecenter.com.
They take good care of me.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Arden Courts is not just a place to live. It's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides.
We believe the power of the human body and mind can do amazing things, and that tapping into that power, not just tricking it with a temporary disguise, is possible. Superpatch technology uses a special pattern and vibrotactile technology to help you go from feeling blah to hurrah. Now, once the Superpatch is in contact with your skin, it triggers a neutral response in the brainstem that helps you tackle your daily problems head on. Whether you're struggling with pain, balance, stress, or focus, we have a solution that might be right for you. With Superpatch's 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Hi, this is Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for the caregivers. I started using the Liberty Patch over 3 years ago. I used to be a tripper, but since wearing the Liberty Patch, I haven't tripped once. The Liberty Patch is proven to reduce the risk of falling by up to 8 times. And as we all know, if you prevent the fall, you prevent the call. Don't wait until it's too late. Preventative solutions are the answer.
Superpatch does not claim to diagnose, treat, or cure illness. Superpatch is FDA registered. To receive 25% off your first order, go to sticktoit.info. That's sticktoit.info and learn more.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
So Superpatch is absolutely unbelievable. We're coming out with some new patches this year, one for high blood pressure.
Yes, that would be nice.
One for gut health. But if you don't know about them yet, contact me. I'll talk to you. They are drug-free patches. Drug-free. Because my biggest fear with my caregivers is over-medication in the fall. And the one particular patch, the Liberty Patch, I've been wearing for 4 years, and I used to trip a lot and fall, and I don't anymore. And I got an email from a friend of mine this morning, and she said, for the first time in 6 months, I'm not afraid to take a shower because I'm not afraid I'm going to fall. I have some clients that their kids are now off their ADHD medications. There's a whole bunch of things. There's a wonderful peace patch. I did a memorial last week, and the daughter said, I don't want to be crying through the whole thing. And I gave her a peace patch, and she was cool. So for more information, you can just contact me.
Yeah, and there's no
that.
drugs, so you can try it.
Yes, no drugs.
It doesn't work. You try it
anything.
anyway.
Completely holistic?
Yeah. I'll give you some information.
It's a
about
pattern.
It. It's very cool.
I'm waiting for the blood pressure.
A pattern in the patch attaches to your skin and goes up to your brain and tells your brain what it has to do.
I'd be interested in learning more.
Yeah, there's one that helps with sleep, a whole bunch of different things. So I'll give you some information, most definitely. So before we finish up with you, I just want to mention a couple of things that Dr. Thomas Pearson will be at Arden Courts. Well, actually, Arden Courts is sponsoring it, but it's at Bethel Lutheran Church on Tuesday, February 18th from 11:30 to 1 p.m. He's a neurologist. He's absolutely fabulous. So if you're interested, he's going to talk about the dementia spectrum, CRS, activities which may proactively help reduce cognitive decline and improve function. I guess I need to go to this. So if you're interested, you can RSVP to 727-771-1600. I'll put the information in the show. I think Dr. Pearson, I'm trying to get him to be on the show in the next couple of weeks. Let's see. Oh, get yourself into a support group. Next week is support group time. I do a support group the first Friday of every month, which is virtual. I do a journaling workshop, virtual for caregivers, the first Thursday of every month. And then the second Friday of every month, we do a live caregiver support group at Arden Courts in Seminole, which, if you want, you can bring your loved one with you. So you can have some respite time and come into the support group while your loved one is in another room being entertained for the hour and a half we're there. Please take advantage of that. It can be a big deal. It can really make a difference. Alrighty, so what's the last thing we want our listeners to hear today?
Just remember those who serve. I think that's the most important thing we can do as Americans, as citizens. What we do at Operation Helping Hand is just a small part of what we can do. So if you have the time, we'd love to have you help us. But if you're not going to help Operation Helping Hand, do something to help our active duty and our veterans.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing that I really want to take away, because so many times, as you said earlier, it's in the back of people's minds. Yeah. And that I think it's important that we put it to the forefront of people's minds.
Yeah. My granddaughter is married to a gentleman in the military. So military actually took them to Germany for a while, then Colorado, but now they're back in Largo.
I was going to say, you should have gone to visit.
Yes.
Oh, she did.
Yes, I did.
Both places, right?
Yeah. Well, I made it. I was 71 last year, so I made a deal with myself. I'm going away once a month for the rest of my life, even if it's one night to Tampa. And I've stuck to it for 3 years. And each year I take one big trip. So the first year I did Peru with a group called Gutsy Women Travel, and I didn't know anybody. And then last year I went to the Azores in Portugal with my cousins. And then in November I went to Egypt.
Egypt, that sounds fun. Now, where are you going this year?
Yeah, well, it was supposed to be Ireland, but as of this morning, I think it might be Italy instead. We're going to see. I got some cousins that want to go.
Italy is one of my favorite destinations.
Oh, I just want to see. Well, first of all, I took a little Italian in school, so I know a little tiny bit. But all the different things that you've seen, the photos of, the churches, the statues, the everything.
The food.
The food.
The food.
The wine.
I'll be at the bar and the restaurant.
None of it is too bad. And this is what I always tell you caregivers too. And I know you're caring for a loved one. You just can't take off. But I've already cared for my loved ones, so now it's my turn. But you need to care for yourself too. So you know what? If your sister says, how can I help out? Say, can you please come and take mom for a weekend? Or can mom come visit you for a week? Because many times our own family members don't realize what's going on and how much work we're doing to take care of a loved one. So if we don't stand up and tell them, they're not going to know. And I can't tell you how many times after someone finally tells their sister or brother, whoever it is, that they need help, they're like, why didn't you tell us sooner? We would help you a lot of ways. And especially if you're here and your sister's in Alabama or New York, wherever it is. Now, she can't come in and help mom every day, but she could send a little cash. She could pay for some home health, anything to help you out. But we have to ask for it, and we have to accept it when people want it. Because this is, you know the deal. Everybody asks you, how you doing? You go, I'm okay. Which is the biggest, furthest from the truth. And I'll say it once again. You know, when my mom passed away, I was in the supermarket, and one of my friends said, how you doing, Linda? And I said, I'm okay. And she said to me, I'm sick of hearing that from you. She said, when you took care of your mother, you stole my joy. I said, I did what? And she said, I could see you swimming in quicksand, and every time I asked to help you, you said, no, I'm okay. And you never gave me the opportunity to meet your mother either.
Oh, well, that must have helped you feel a lot better.
But sometimes you got to get a little smack to realize what you're doing.
Well, and that's the truth. I mean, a lot of the people that we help, they don't know how to ask for help, and we're here to provide it. And that's what we do. And that's what you guys do. And it's, you know, it's just our way of giving back.
Yeah. And just as they want to give back too. We all want to, you know what? I look at it this way all the time. We're all the same schmoes. Exactly. We want our health. We want to be loved. We want a roof over our head. Now, we may have different hobbies. We may have different interests, but basically we are exactly the same. And when you realize that we're exactly the same, you make so many more new friends. And you're so less judgmental of everything else. So I've been listening to, I just finished the Mel Robbins book, Let Them. Oh my goodness, it's so fabulous. You have the opportunity to get it because sometimes, you know, you get yourself a little wound up about something that's really none of your business. And with your family, with your friends, or whatever, and there are seasons in life, but I highly recommend it. It's called The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. So you wanted to mention a couple of other big sponsors and tell us where our listeners can find you.
Well, again, I would refer you to our website, which is ohhtampa.org. Okay. We have a listing of all the different events that we do. There's an opportunity to reach out and send an email, also a contact phone number. You can also, our golf registration is not open at this point. It will be open on Monday, which I think is February 3rd.
Okay.
So, you know, if you're looking to do something for golf, again, we could use the volunteers. Look for that after Monday.
That's a fun kind of an event when they do those golf tournaments. It's kind of fun.
And you know what's really neat is that part of the reason we do it on this particular weekend every year is that MacDill used to host the air show. Now, because they're redoing the runways, the air show is on hiatus for a couple of years. But our tournament is on the day that they practice. And because of the relationship we have with some of the leadership at MacDill, when the air show is going on, they buzz all the different tee boxes. They make it a special attempt to be able to interact. And it really is just so much fun. I mean, I remember when last time we did it, one of my teammates literally threw his club. He goes, how am I supposed to tee off when there's an F-35 on the deck going across the tee box?
I can't even concentrate.
And, you know, at the end of the day, he said, that was the best golf I've ever had. And it
maybe
really
I'll have to take that with him every time.
Oh, yeah. So,
well, it's just like, you know, like I'm in Kiwanis and I tell my grandchildren, I said, you need to volunteer. And they look at me. And I said, volunteering is not an option. It's your responsibility. This is your town. You need to know the people. And they go, wah, wah, wah. And every time they get where we're going, this is fun. When are we going to do it again? You know, like when's the next pancake breakfast or whatever? So it's very interesting. Oh, I should let you know, too, we do a Field of Honor, my Kiwanis, every November in Seminole, where for $30 you can get a flag. It's a huge flag. And there's a streamer on it. It says David McCauley, U.S. Navy, whatever years, to honor our veterans. And we started doing it 12 years ago. And the first year we had 25 flags. And this year we had 600.
I would love to find out some additional information.
I'll give you information. And it's for the entire month of November. In fact, I hear they're putting it on like the tourist attraction list now or something.
Oh, wow.
I'm telling you, when you it's a lot of work, but I'll tell you, when you drive by and you see 600 flags flying, it's just your heart.
And then when you were having this storm come in, they had to go take them all down and put them back up again.
Yeah, take them down and put them back up because of a hurricane, because they'll be like missiles. But
it's worth it.
It was worth it.
And it was at the post office.
Yeah, it's at the Seminole Post Office and St. Pete College, because we got a little bigger, so we moved across the street a little bit.
Well, we'd love to, help you with that and let us know what we can do.
Yeah, I'll let you know all about it. Thanks for being with me today. It's been a pleasure meeting you. I'm sure we'll do something together down the line somewhere.
Well, thank you both. I had such a great time, and I very much appreciate the time that you've given us. So,
no problem.
We can't do what we do without help without people like you.
You're very welcome. Thanks so much for tuning in. Tune in next week for another fabulous show. Remember, God loves you all the time, and have a delicious day.